Here I'm going to be talking today and really building upon some of the topics that we were discussing even just in the last hour or so. Pete gave a great recap of CES and some of the things that are happening on the consumer technology side, but how do we take those and apply what he was talking about for CES to the commercial markets and the demanding environments that you guys are putting technology in. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about 7 things that you need to know about the future of display technologies. And with that, I'm going to dive right in. By way of introduction, thank you very much for the introduction. I run marketing and product strategy for Planar and our Runco home theater brand. And Planar, you may have heard, has been recently acquired, and we are now part of an even larger display company. And I'm running marketing for the international business of Liard International. I'm just collecting titles. I know many of you can appreciate that. The job just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So the first thing that I would be remiss to not put in the first category is really the adoption and rollout of video wall technologies. I know many of you have been responsible for implementing tiled video wall solutions in your environments, and it's now official. LCD tiled video walls are very much the mainstream. They represent about 80% of the installed video walls to date and continue to evolve as a technology. And just to prove that you can't be too rich or too thin, these technologies continue to develop thinner and thinner bezels that, when tiled together, create even a more seamless view of whatever content that you're putting on the screen. And combined with other image uniformity, color balancing, and the like, really create a beautiful canvas at a very economical price point. And so continues to dominate what we're seeing in LCD in the video wall space. Second trend that we need to talk about is touch interactivity. I remember years ago we used to have to put attract loops on kiosks that said, "Touch me, I'm a kiosk." And now you see physical signs written on scratches of paper and taped up on displays that says, "Don't touch me, I am not a touchscreen." And so pretty much the assumption is now that displays are not just output devices, they're input devices as well. And driving that adoption has been a huge part of our business, and actually it's one of the things that really sets commercial display technology apart from consumer technology. Years ago, in the consumer space, we perfected the remote, so you didn't have to get up and touch anything. Right? Well, in commercial spaces, people are already up and about. They're in public spaces, they're milling about, they want to interact with information. They assume a big screen is already a touch screen, so you might as well take advantage of that trend and create a new kind of customer engagement. And we're seeing that as a growing trend. What to look for in touch technologies is ever-shrinking bezel sizes, ever-increasing number of touch points, increasing touch accuracy, and probably it's not nearly as glamorous, but frankly in the day-to-day operation of a touch system, it's very important. More and more touch systems are HID compliant, which means you don't have to install drivers to make the touchscreen work. And it's those kinds of details that make all the difference sometimes in the wide adoption of these technologies. Number 3. Pete talked about UHD or 4K resolution, and we have seen this adopted very strongly in the commercial space as well. So many of the commercial applications for displays really do rely on having lots of data. You've heard the trends of big data visualization and the like. Well, those require canvases that are up to the task of displaying large spreadsheets or data models, and 4K has been a perfect solution for those kinds of applications. What to look for in this space is ever-increasing use of the 4K resolution, the ability to tile 4K displays. We've seen that as a growing application. Imagine if one 98-inch 4K is good, imagine 6 of them or 9 of them in a row, really immersing people in data and information. And then the other thing that you're going to see is even finer pixel density. You saw what was happening on the consumer side. We're starting to see 8K come on strong. Apparently, for the 2020 Japanese Olympics, they're saying 8K broadcast is the goal. So you're going to see a lot more development of 8K on the consumer side to support that, and we're going to see the really smart adoption of that on the commercial side for the kind of commercial applications that you guys are driving every day. The other big trend we're seeing in large format displays and video walls is fine pitch direct view LED. Every single one of you have seen this technology out in the world in that coarser, more traditional pitches. And what I mean by that is the billboards in Times Square, or the billboards along the highway, or the set of your favorite award show, all have used direct view LED technology to create a seamless view. And how that you measure that technology in terms of its resolution is a term called pixel pitch. You take the distance between two adjacent pixels, you measure that in millimeters, and that indicates how coarse or how fine that resolution is. The ones on the highway may be 30 millimeter pitch. We are now seeing 1.6 millimeter pitch as a commercially viable product. So when you start getting finer and finer pixels at more and more affordable price points, it starts becoming a viable alternative to tiled LCD, to rear projection cubes, to edge blended front projection or rear projection setups, all of which have huge, open up new opportunities for creating seamless video walls of virtually any size and virtually any configuration. And they're seamless because they're able, we're able to hide the seams of the tiled modules within the distance between those two adjacent pixels. So you're going to see this technology come on very strong. It has been very expensive to date. It's been very much a premium solution, but we're now seeing price points come where it's a very viable option for many environments, including some of the most demanding environments like control rooms. The other thing that underlines the use of large format displays, high resolution displays, and video walls is something that we call processing, image processing. And it's the ability to scale sources, to put multiple sources on the wall, to switch between them, to window them, to layer them up, and to create a user experience to allow the people at the data that they need on these canvases. And what we're seeing as a general trend is there is a great deal of expertise in the AV industry about this. Sensory Technologies has some great tools in this space, but more and more of that capability is also being built into the display itself. So for instance, a 4K resolution display might have a whole handful of inputs, allowing you to switch between them, allowing you to put up 4 at once, allowing you to put up picture-in-picture, maybe dozens of different layout options built into the display itself. So no extra box required, no extra expense and hassle involved. And so we're seeing more and more of that adoption. And so again, as the more pixels happen on the screen, we need more ways of managing those. And that's where processing comes in. Another trend that we're seeing in the marketplace that is very new is transparent OLED. Pete talked a bit, back. I hope this works in presentation mode. There we go. Pete talked a bit about what's happening in OLED. OLED is coming on very strong in consumer markets. It's finally out of the labs. For those of us that have been in this display industry for a long time, we always felt like OLED was 2 years away from being 2 years away from being 2 years away. And so having it come out of the lab and be a viable consumer product is very, very exciting. But what does that mean for commercial markets? The use case for a television is a few hours a day, video content 100%. which doesn't make it all that applicable to what you guys are doing for digital signage or control room or commercial applications. You really want something with a longer duty cycle. You really want something that takes advantage of all the benefits of OLED, but will live in your environment. We are not there yet with traditional OLED. The lifetime is just not what we'd like it to be. But there are a few applications of the technology that are very, very promising, and transparent is one of those. Using transparent technology allows you to keep quite a few of the pixels at rest, because anything that's black on the screen in your content, whether it be a background of a PowerPoint slide or whether it be dark content in your video, shows clear. Those pixels are literally off. And so those pixels are at rest, and so those pixels are not burning in. And so you have an opportunity to align perfectly the use model of preserving the lifetime of an OLED product with a use case that makes sense in commercial markets. So how would people use some of this technology, transparent display, in real applications? Well, here's some examples. Here's two set side by side in the front of a retail counter, maybe displaying jewelry or watches. You already have a counter. For security reasons, you're already keeping those things at bay. But this is an opportunity to put messaging, to put brand story right in the face of the counter. Tiling them together to create room dividers, or very exciting ways to draw people through the space in a more compelling way. Wayfinding, completely reimagined. Again, something like this with an attract loop that might bring people to the display, and then when they're there, it could even be interactive, where they're interacting with the content. Many of you may have seen Corning's A Day Made of Glass. It's made the rounds a few times on the interwebs, and those viral videos really display a lot of these kinds of applications, and now they're becoming a reality. Imagine chair rails and stairway banisters completely redefined as canvases for messaging or wayfinding and the like. Very cool. It completely re-envisions what can be done with physical artifacts, like in a museum environment. Here are two displays in portrait, put at a 90-degree angle, the beautiful Stradivarius violin or whatever is behind that, and users are able to experience those physical objects without touching them, without damaging them, with the full ability to control the light and the like, but they're actually getting a richer experience. And so for so many environments, whether it be in luxury retail, in museums, or even re-envisioning the awards case, right? There's an opportunity to take this to a whole variety of applications where traditional glass has been used in the past. So here's a ticket counter with a glass shroud at the top. Again, imagine people approaching that and content being shown on the screen, the next tickets or upcoming shows being displayed. Storefront Windows reimagined. This is a tiled array where content could be put right on the screen, and you'll notice if you look through it, there's some handbags and other things about her knee that you can see through the display. And then integrating display into a retail environment right next to the merchandise. What's the equivalent of the hang tag? You guys, it's a cold day. You guys might be thinking of winter coats. When you're buying a warmth and dryness system, they always have that hang tag that tells you all about the Gore-Tex and the down lining. What's the equivalent to the hang tag for a whole host of consumer products that you buy? The equivalent is the packaging, the physical packaging, touching and feeling the product. Well, now you have yet another option, an option to put content directly in the place where the merchandise is being displayed, and to bring in content from other advertising methods, to do an omnichannel approach where you're bringing in e-commerce or mobile solutions, social messaging directly into the point of purchase environment. Combining video together with physical art. So here's like a beautiful blown glass Chihuly display behind glass. You see there in the box. But as somebody approaches it, it becomes a wayfinding, telling them more about what's happening in the community. Integrating into a table is a natural. as an emissive solid-state device. It doesn't quite have the limitations of LCDs about putting it face down or up, so you can integrate it into other fixtures so much more easily. And then creating the wow effect. Imagine this as the bar top of your favorite local pub, where shapes and colors are ascending and descending this tower that hangs above the bar, and then periodically the big game is shown there on some of those screens. Again, a great opportunity to utilize technology to do things that were never before possible. And my final trend is actually something I wanted to give you guys a quick preview on, and an open invitation. As we think about displays are inherently visual. In fact, everything I showed you today, I would have loved to have one of each, but they don't pack easily into the overhead bin. So sadly, I didn't get a chance to bring all of them with us. But you being able to visualize how displays could transform your spaces and places is a really important part of our business. It's really important part of what Sensory Technology does in their consultation with you. And so we've developed a new tool that we think is a trend, and that is taking augmented reality out of the headset, out of the dizzying array of virtual reality, and putting a tool in your hand. It's a tool we call Planar View. And from your phone or your tablet, you can literally snap a picture of a wall or a surface that you'd like to envision with displays. You actually set the points here and here of where the wall is, even if it's not perfectly straight on. And then you can drag and drop video wall technologies directly onto the wall, build the wall at how many rows and columns that you want, and preview content directly in the tool. This adds to what we've done with calculators and other online tools to make it that much easier for you guys to see what's possible, not in the theoretical or not off a data sheet, a tear sheet from a website, but in your environment with your stakeholders and with those that are needing to approve the budget or thinking about the content. You can bring them all into the discussion with tools like this that allow this display technology to go on the go. So in summary, the trends that you're seeing in display technology often have a partnership with what you're seeing on the consumer side, which is why we pay attention to things like CES as well, and you should as well. But as you make the move to commercial, the needs for reliability, the needs for serviceability, the needs for specifying a product that will have a longer life cycle so you can actually do a rollout without the model changing. Those are the kinds of things that you take for granted. And those are the kinds of things that on the display side will continue to drive innovation around and continue to make it easier for our customers and you to specify, design, deploy, maintain, and really get the full value out of your display investments. So thank you very much.